Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at an audit analysis on a scenario in relation to a false or wrongful arrest arising out of the use of a £20 coin as legal tender in a petrol station. The audit relates to Eye Spot Audits at a BP station on the 4th of December 22. Please like and subscribe his original video. Nothing in this analysis constitutes legal advice, merely a discussion to stimulate opinion around legislation. In this case, as might be expected, a civil claim was settled in favour of the auditor as shown in his subsequent videos. Please see the links below the video. Okay guys, before we actually delve into the audit scenario, let's look a little bit about the background about what legal tender actually is. Coins in the UK are regulated by the statutory instrument known as the Coinage Act of 1971. Section 2 of this Act actually describes how many coppers, no pun intended, you can pass over the counter as legal tender. So this means, technically, a shop is not legally required to accept more than 20 pence in copper coins. Coins issued or minted after the Coinage Act 1971 needed special permission from the Privy Council to be issued as legal tender. As can be seen from the Coinage Act of 71, there is no mention of the higher value coins of £5 and £20 being legal tender. That is because both of these coins were released after the Coinage Act of 71 was formulated. This meant that the £20 and £5 coins received very special attention from the Privy Council to be recognised as legal tender. As can be seen, the good news for higher value coins struck after 71 is that they can be used for any amount. Legal tender has a narrow meaning. It refers to any coin, note or object that can be used to settle a debt. So if you pay a debt using legal tender, you cannot be sued for non-payment. However, it does not necessarily mean that any ordinary transaction has to take place in legal tender or only within the amount denominated by the legislation. So, from a retail perspective, as per the circumstances in the next slide, if the retailer wishes to be choosy about the payment method, they must serve clear notice at the point of sale, such as to be clear on contract, and that notice must be overt. The simple question arising in this video is simple. Where does it say that I cannot pay in high valued coins? So that's the intro into the circumstances. So let's actually look at the arrest failure. Okay guys, having given you a little bit of background on legal tender and noting the complainant's due diligence and intention to make payment with it throughout, we now turn to the meat and potatoes of wrongful arrest. At 32 minutes 15 seconds an arrest is made under the Theft Act 1978, otherwise termed bilking. Bilk means to take money from someone unfairly or dishonestly, which, for avoidance of doubt, was never the intention of the complainant. The following criteria within the meaning of Section 3 of the Act are required to be satisfied, and I emphasise the key words. For the purpose of this section, it must be proved that the defendant knew that payment on the spot was required or expected and made off dishonestly with intent to avoid payment of the amount due. So let's deal with the points one at a time. So let's look at the key terms within the meaning of Section 3.1 of the Act. Payment on the spot, making off dishonestly, and intention to avoid the payment. Let's deal with the points one at a time. The interpretation of on the spot is the point at which the service was delivered in respect of fuel transferring into the ownership of the complainant, the pump. No overt notice was provided in relation to precluding the payment method incurring the debt. 2. Whether the courts determined the spot to be the pump or the counter, the defendant did not actually leave or make off such as to perpetrate any act of dishonesty, and had, with due diligence, established payment could be accepted in the form given. 3. There was no intention to avoid payment. For all intentional purposes, both the retailer and the franchisee had agreed to take payment in the form of legal tender provided, and did nothing by way of notice to prevent it prior to the goods and services becoming a debt. Just to be clear, if goods are being ascertained as part of a contract, title will pass when the goods are identified or measured. In a petrol station, this will occur when the fuel is measured as it passes through the pump into the car's tank. Similarly, if ownership passes before the intention preventing payment was formed, no crime was committed, that being an act and omission of the retailer. So guys, the final curtain in wrongful arrest comes from Regina versus Allen in the House of Lords, who said that in order for an offence to be committed, there must be an intention to permanently deprive by making off, and that a mere intention to defer payment is not sufficient. In theory, a person could eat a meal at a restaurant, not pay, but leave his name and address in order for the restaurant to start civil recovery proceedings against him, so long as the details were correct and he did intend to pay at some point in the future by way of civil recovery. Then no offence under Section 3 would be committed. Okay guys, let's round off this 10-minute mainstay topic with what happened subsequently to Eye Spot Audit. He was taken by Cleveland Police unceremoniously to Middlesbrough Police Station, where the custody sergeant refused to accept the arrest, not surprisingly because he would become responsible for it. A civil claim ensued and a court date was set. As a result of that challenge, Cleveland Police settled out of court without an apology for the sum of £4,000 plus legal fees. Eye Spot Audits makes a subsequent visit to the station to bestow suitable gifts to assist officers in their next unlawful arrest. To find out more, visit the links in the video below and like and subscribe. Okay everyone, if you have enjoyed this scenario analysis and found it educational or useful, please like and subscribe to help get the channel up and running. So until our next scenario, keep on auditing, but don't forget, like Eye Spot Audits, always do your homework.